weekend so far. A 6th place, a 3rd and a 2nd. Still good results, but not what we'd expect to see from Thibaut Ramekers, who's dominated in Spain, comes to Belgium now and has struggled this weekend. Like we say, the next race, Superheat 1 for Junior X30, takes to the track. Alexis Constant and Vilmos Van, then they go from row 1 from Thibaut Ramekers, and Sacha Van Posch, currently 9th in the championship. He starts this one on the outside row on row 2. George Nassar and Louis Command, they go from row 3 from Zach Green and Tyron Kinnard, who's had a pretty decent weekend so far. He starts this one on that 4th row. Romeo Russell and Harrison Mackie, who did have ups and downs yesterday, but comes into this one. He starts in P10 in the top 5 rows. Bertrand Sacha and Jean-Paul Carras go from row 6 from Austin Gale. Sam Woolley alongside on that 7th row. Sandro Perez, your current championship leader, he starts this one all the way down in 15th place. He has not had a good weekend. He had a DNF, I think, the other day or yesterday in the rainy conditions. He went off at turn 1 from Morgan Moore, but though he starts alongside, he's got Eden Spanswick and Henry Carter just behind of them on row 9, an all-British row 9. Arthur Huang and Angelina Proenka, they ran out the top 20 on row 10 from Elaves, and Mika Hockendorf, they ran out the top 11 rows from Yannis Dubois, who rounds out the 12 rows for France. This is going to be an exciting one. 23 drivers, and again, we will whittle the 2 superheats down to just the top 36, and that will give us our final grid later on today. You joining me back in the commentary box. How's the are you cycling again today, or are you walking?
I'm cycling.
Cycling again today.
Cycling. And for those of you wondering, what are they talking about? The length between our position in the speaker room on the far side of the track, by the start-finish straight pretty much, and the Parc Fermé is quite consequent, you know. So I'd rather go cycling to be in time to give you guys interviews, and back in no time to get on going with the racing. So it's a bit of sport as well, you know. Because we're standing on our feet quite a lot throughout the weekend as well. So it's good to get moving as well. I hope, Anthony, that you don't get too stuck and too steady. So don't forget to step on left foot, right foot, right?
Yes,
to keep it going as well. To keep the blood flowing as well. So it's good for the feet as well.
I think you need to commentate with an exercise bike in the commentary box.
That could be an interesting one. We may suggest that, actually.
Yeah, I might suggest that. See if I can put that on the expenses tab. I don't think I'll get away with that one. Here we go then. The first of the superheats for Junior X30 about to get underway. Like I say, Alexis Constant, who had a pretty decent day yesterday, starts on that front row with Vilmos Van alongside. Vilmos Van, who had excellent race starts yesterday in the wet conditions. This time around, in the dry conditions, they've got a bit of a challenge to get ahead of them this time around. So let's see what they can do. They've got themselves slowed all the way down now, and we should hopefully be starting this race. First time of asking. Going very slowly here in towards the tram lines. There we go. Now they start to pick up the pace. Here we go then. Tram lines, lights out, and down in towards turn 1. Good start from the inside row. Not the best start from the outside. So Vilmos Van getting swamped a little bit, dropping down into 3rd place. Thibaut Ramekers up into 2nd place, maybe up into 1st. No. Alexis Constant holds on to the race lead as Vilmos Van drops down into 3rd. Looks like one of the Zach Green, Jamie Jung carts, or one of the carts is off. That looks like Austin Gale that's gone off the track. It's the 31. He started this race pretty far down the order. Just trying to think, where did he start? Yeah, 13th place. So, yeah, in that mid-pack, one of those challenging places to start, isn't it? You do get swamped by the pack a little bit, don't you?
It's always a risk into the opening lap, as we have a good section of hairpins into the karting the final of Mariembourg, when you want to keep the racing line alive, but everybody wants to do the same. So at some point, you can go for driver up front when there's not only space for 1 or 2 maximum. But as for now, Thibaut Ramekers had a pretty good start up into P2. Look at the field, still so packed up outside of turn number 12. And this is only the opening lap. And look at the gap as well that those two have been able to build up to 3.4 seconds now, as they're going to be left to themselves to battle for the win. So both Alexis Constant and Thibaut Ramekers could not have hoped for a better scenario. They're going to leave the rest of the field battling along, as Constant is going a bit wide outside of turn number 3. He's going to lose a bit of momentum as a result. And you can see Thibaut Ramekers racing his fellow countrymen from Belgium. 1 and 2 from Belgium. Some of the local heroes going through on the inside in turn number 6, that is, into the hairpin. And Thibaut Ramekers is in the lead for the first time this weekend. The young Belgian driver who has been one of the sensations of the junior category, winner of the Winter Cup earlier this season. Didn't have the best of outcome with a P7 in Zuara for the opening run of the IAME Euro Series, even though he climbed 11 places in Spain. But yesterday's qualifying races didn't go according to plan either, with a 6th, a 3rd, and a 2nd, still progressing through the ranks. It was one of the drivers, you might remember that, into the opening qualifying race of the class, where everybody went on slick tires when it was raining, onto the track. And Tibor Ramakers, one of the drivers who didn't have time to swap to wet tires for that particular race, still made it up to P6 and was one of the few contenders of the junior category in that particular race to get a strong result. And that means he was able to start in the upper part of the grid for the super heat. So that was mission 1 done in the wet for Tibor Ramakers, but we've seen his pace, we've seen his skills as well as in the European Championship in other categories as well. So Tibor Ramakers has been really, really on charge ever since the start of the season.
Yes, indeed. Here's a look then at the start of the race to see how on earth these top two got away so cleanly and so well. There's the start. You see the inside line worked well, just no drama between the two of them. Then it all kicked off a little further back because, of course, we lost Austin Gale, who actually it was a breakdown before the race even started. So that's why it wasn't an off on the start of the race. So very tricky there. There was the move for the race lead as Tibor Ramakers gets it done. But then it's all kicking off behind in the background. The battle for 6th place is still looming, and actually the battles further back are also still looming as well, as drivers are scrabbling to try and gain as many positions as they can. But there's just been a clean breakaway. The top two, currently back to the live pictures, there they are on your screen. They are, 5 seconds clear from Louis Kuman, who's there in 3rd place, who is himself another 1.2 seconds clear from Vilma Svan. Morgan Moore's all on his own in P5, and then you've got the battle further back. You've got Zach Green, you've got Eden Spanswick, you've got Perez, you've got Kennard, then you've got Carter, Russell, Porenka in the top 12. So it's all kicking off still in the background, but eyes remain on these top two. Look at the twitch there as they try to dart their way round turn number 1. Alexis Constant all over the back here of Tibor Ramakers. These two very quick drivers. Constant with 2 race wins. He knows how to pedal around this circuit. Tibor Ramakers, who has struggled but is currently 7th in the championship, like you say, who was going through. But this will be good for his championship lead if he can maintain it, because he currently sits in this position, 2nd in the point standings. But of course, this is only the first of 2 Junior X30 Superheats, so that might all change when the next group comes out.
Alexis Constancy, still your leader in the ranking as it stands, with a good pile of points, 6 points clear from Tibor Ramakers. So what Alexis Constancy needs to do is to stay as long as possible behind Tibor Ramakers and maybe launch for an attack and confirming his supremacy after yesterday's qualifying races. He was winning all of his qualifying races on track before picking up a penalty in his last race. And the victory went to Sacha Van Bosch. Look at him sliding a little bit on the N3 of turn number 1. That's a good piece of driving there from Alexis Constant, the driver from Dream Racing, as he has his teammate Louis Comines down in P3, but 5.8 seconds down. Comines in P3. Then we have the Swedish driver Vilma Svan, winner of one of the heats yesterday. Zach Green, Tyrone Kinnard doing a good job as well. Tyrone Kinnard, we haven't seen much of the Pantano Racing driver this weekend so far, but he climbed 2 places up to P6. As Spanswick, the British driver, climbed 10 ranks up into P7 from Sandro Perez, Morgan Moore, Henry Carter running at the top 10 from Porenka, the Frenchman from Jada Racing, who climbed 9 places as well. So a pile of recoveries efforts here from some of the drivers in the class. It shows that yesterday wasn't meant to happen this way. The rain was pouring all throughout the day during the qualifying races, really giving the drivers a very hard time. Watch out for the move on the inside. Tibor Ramakers trying to shut the door, but it was too late as Alexis Constant just made his way past beautifully. Still quite early. We still have a couple of laps before a checkered flag, so no time to panic for Tibor Ramakers. He has the experience of the track. He's the junior champion of Belgium. He knows what to do in that particular circumstances. He's going to keep close and maybe waiting for the last lap. Remains to be seen.
Yes, it does. We'll have to see what it can go. And I'm keeping an eye on Alexis Constant on that one, obviously, because with that now, does gain, loses another couple of points, meaning lower points, meaning better in the results. And of course, he's got the threat, really, of Freddie Lloyd in the next race, who has had 2 wins and a 5th place, meaning that he has got 5 points to his name. Alexis Constant, who was in 2nd place, also had 5 points. So then it goes to qualifying. And I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head who was fastest in qualifying.
Well, Alexis Constant was ahead of Freddie Lloyd, if I remember well as well. but that could be the difference.
Because it would fall to that if they were joint on points. But now that Alexis Constant is leading, he's got 3 race points, meaning that he won't have to worry about that one. This is the battle a little further down the order. You can see Sandro Perez just leading that trail of karts. One of the karts very loud, actually, as they've gone past us. I think one of the exhausts has somewhat come off the kart, which is a shame. But Sandro Perez currently sitting in 6th place.
Here's a quick correction about what we just mentioned. With qualifying performances, Freddie Lloyd actually was 3rd overall in the practice of Friday. He took the 2nd fastest lap in the opening qualifying series, as Alexis Constant was 8th overall fastest. So that means that if they equal on points by the end of those 2 superheats, Freddie Lloyd will get the overall pole position. Yes,
indeed. So that's why Alexis Constant has gone for that move and now leads the point standings with just 3. So there would be nothing that Freddie Lloyd would be able to do, because he's already got 5 points to his name. Even if he got a race win, he would still have those 5 points. Still, battles rages on further down the order as the drivers make their way through the track. Very close here. This is the battle for about P4, because Vilmos Van is under pressure here, who's leading the drivers behind. Louis Camon, Sandro Perez, who has latched onto the back of that one. Now Zach Green in this fray, as now Sandro Perez has got past Zach Green, and Zach Green now getting swamped by the train as the 2 drivers behind get through. Kennard and Morgan Moore. Henry Carter now getting into the fray as well. You can just see him in the back with that pink striped helmet just coming through at the back of shot. But now, clean breakaway. Vilmos Van is comfortable now in P3, but still under a little bit of pressure from Kuman, as now Kennard comes under pressure. Sacha van Bad Bosch gets a technical flag.
Well, no disappointment for the victory lane driver, who picked up a win yesterday. Didn't have the best of weekend so far. Very difficult qualifying heats for him in this category. And now a mechanical flag. That means that he has 3 laps to get back into the pits, because he's deemed not fit anymore to be part of this race. I'm trying to see where he ended up in the classification. Sacha van Bad Bosch all the way down P7 with a 12, a 3rd and a 0. So it started bad, and you can see the Dutch driver coming back into the pits, trying to see what is going wrong with his machine.
We heard the loud exhaust earlier. It could be that it came from Sacha van Bad Bosch's kart. So unfortunate for him, that race is over. And, well, it wasn't a good set of qualifying. Like I say, he started this one on the P4, but he had a 12th, a 3rd, and a race win. So, yeah, again, it was a good second half of the day, but the start of the day didn't go too well. Crucial at the front here, this gap's opened up a little bit more, and now that brings in the question to Alexis Constant, who now again, after this one, will have the 5 championship points, as he's there in P2 now. So now he's under threat from Freddie Lloyd. If Freddie Lloyd wins the 2nd superheat, that would mean he would start on pole position, because he qualified better on Friday. So that really shakes it up now. So Alexis Constant thinking, I've got to get past. I've got to get past this position here. Is this the move of how it happened? Yes, it was. And that looks like it's through into turn 6.
It did happen, yeah.
Nice, robust, gets it done. Down the inside, no dramas there whatsoever. Timo Ramakers happy with that one, I think.
There wasn't much space for Timo Ramakers to dive in, but still he did it. And there won't be much time left remaining for Alexis Constant, I'm afraid, to try to swap positions, unless he wants to go for the suicide move in turn number 12. We've seen that in the past, but I think that the gap will be good enough. Looking over his shoulder, Timo Ramakers, one last kick to the brake, back on the throttle. And this will be the win in the first of the 2 superheat of the junior class. Timo Ramakers takes the victory from Alexis Constant, and Louis Comin all the way down in P3, 9.7 seconds behind.
Oh, that's Vilmos Van. Vilmos Van off the track. The driver who was running in around 3rd place is now at the side of the circuit and to a stop. I'm not sure if that's mechanical or he's gone into the barrier. Actually, I think there's 2 drivers off there as well at the corner. Yes, it is. Eden Spanswick's also off at turn number 6. What a disaster. So 2 drivers off at turn number 6 on the final lap. They drop down the order, meaning then that Louis Kuman actually finishes in P3 from Tyron Kennard, who finishes P4. Sandro Perez, after gaining 10 places, will finish in the top 5. He had Morgan Moore just behind for premium karting, also gaining 10 positions from Angelina Proenka for the Yana Racing team, finishing an extra 13 places up into P7. Brilliant result. Zach Green at the end just did drop down to P8 at the end from Henry Carter. Harrison Mackie staying in his 10th place spot, not gaining or losing any positions. Here's a look then at the rest of the classifications as they go through. Bertrand Sasha rounds and finishes in the top 11 from Romeo Rossell. George Nassar and Sam Woolley. Arthur Huang rounds out the top 15. Yannis Dubois with a good race, jumps up 7 places to finish in 16th place from Mika Hockendorf, rounding out the top 17. Elaves in 18th place from Jean-Paul Carras, rounding out the 19 drivers that finished the race. 4 retirements. We lost 2 of them on the last lap. Vilma Svan and Eden Spanswick, those 2 who went off at turn number 6.